1、2、3、4 Hello everybody, I'm still sick but today luckily we are on time, so let's get started. I hope everybody have the sheet on their table. Now today we are going to explain about class. If you see in my screen, there are two windows here, okay, or two tabs. First is the main one, which is the sketch, the main sketch, and the second is class, okay, and it's this one. So how to explain about the class? I would say the class is it's like a group. It's like if you are making something in SketchUp and then you make it as a group, and then you can duplicate everything as a group or a block in AutoCAD, okay, and this is the main sketch. Oh, 大家可以 something 人 blah blah blah. Okay, anyways, so I'm gonna start to sketch something here, okay. So this is the main page, right? Now in the global area, okay, this is the first one, global area, and this is the setup. Okay, now wait, let me see, please join us. Okay, now so in the global area, once we already named something as a class, for example in this case we call it ball, then we can use it here to call ball something. Okay, so here I write down the name of the class become variable type. Okay, so here this is the name, and you can use any names, so I'm gonna use blue to show you that you can use any names. Okay, now this for example you can write it as or you can see it as float, and whatever number x, y, z, let's say, okay, and then semicolon to close or to end the command. So this float is equal to this ball, just to show you, okay, it's not really equal. And this x, y, z can be any names, and in this case we haven't tell what it is yet. We just says there's something called ball, and it's called small ball, and the second name is middle ball and big ball. Okay, now coming back here, if you have reviewed your the previous class, you're gonna notice setup, void underscore setup, and then open parentheses and close it, and open curly bracket and close it here. All this whole thing inside this curly bracket gonna run only once. 所以the size here is the canvas size that we're gonna run the simulation, which is 600 times 600, and then semicolon here to end the command. Okay, I'm gonna run it to show you what happened. You see here there are 3 balls flying around. Okay, one of them is the small ball, the other one is middle, and the other one is big ball. Okay, and this one is 600 times 600 for the simulation window. Okay, now coming back here. Da-da-da. Hello. Okay, coming back here. Now, from here we continue to write what is small ball. So here I make a dash. We tell the computer the small ball is equals to new ball. Here, just remember you have to write new and spacebar. There's no logic why, it's just the way that processing works. So here, new spacebar and ball, capital B, okay. Now here, it can be any names. So again, I use small s and then capital B here to write down small ball. I have to write down the exact same thing. And then new. The reason why this capital B has to be here is that in other page I write down class ball, and I'll explain that later here and here. Okay, later you will know why. So here, like we mentioned last class, that something inside the parenthesis here is the information. In this case it's 200 and 200, right? If we work in Rhino, okay, and there's a node here, and then this Rhino is like point or something, okay, then this X, Y, Z, and then we plug another Rhino in here, I mean another nodes, another box in the Rhino. So this one is like this thing here, okay. So we have to put down the information in. And if we go to this ball page, you see we make our own function, we make our own class, our own objects, our own block, and we said there's something called ball and we need two input. First one we need a float, second one we need a float, but we get back later, okay. And this float will be X and Y for the location of the ball. Okay, coming back to this first main page. Okay, now so in this setup we make a simulation canvas. Later we make 3. We define what it is, okay. We tell them what are these 3 objects. So it's a ball that has an input of 200, 200, 500, 300, and this 100 and 400. Every one of them needs some semicolon to end the command, okay. Now in the draw we have draw, open curly bracket, and then close curly bracket here, okay. And all these commands will run in every frame about 29 times per second. And the first one is background 0. The input is 0, so it's black, and it makes a background, so it keeps updating. Now I will remind you what it is. If we don't draw any background, then we have some gray background and a ball that's jumping around, so we leave the trace behind, okay. Now if we have a background, then it keeps updating, okay. Okay, now we have the background, and we said small ball dot run, and then open and close and semicolon to end it. This is to access and run the ball's function, okay, by using dot. So what it is that we have this small ball. Okay, I will sketch for you. Okay. Okay. So we make this ball. Okay, this is the ball. And inside here, I can tell, okay, let's start at or draw it at 200 x and 200 y, right? Which is this, okay? And inside this, let's say we separate into two stuff. One is a kind of values or global parameter inside the ball. Okay, the other one is function of the ball itself. So the ball can contain function as well, right? For example, we said the value of this is like start here and the color is yellow and it has some smiley face and it can go big and small. No, go big and small is here, right? Or the move is here. If we said, okay, we make a function called move and then bounce, B-O-U-N-C-E, because we want it to bounce, okay? See here? And for example, if we want it to change color, change size or whatever, okay? So that's why in the draw we need to activate a kind of function, okay? So in the small ball we have this small ball dot run, okay? And then we have this open and close parenthesis and then a semicolon. You get it? So from this main page, if you want to access any object's function, you use dot and then run. Okay, now I'm gonna show you later about the things here, which is the ball page. Okay, now I'm gonna re-sketch this thing. Okay, I think somebody turned on the mic. Somebody is not me. Hello. Okay, now if you already have the sheet printed out, then it's good for you. Now here, okay, two page, main page and the ball class. Okay, let's have some guess what's going on here. Just spend like 2 minutes guessing. Okay, now so this class, okay, I make it class ball, and the way to make this additional tab is to go here, drop down arrows and call new tab, and I'm gonna rewrite all this later. Okay, so we're gonna see how it start from the beginning, and you will write it as well. So like I said, I'm trying to have this class like first part is explaining the code, and then I'll try to show how to change some things, and then you can rewrite it or change it and ask question. Okay, so click here, new tab, and then we can call it tutor here. Then it's an empty page, right? So first of all, we should type down class and spacebar, and then the name of the class, and open curly bracket and then close curly bracket somewhere there, so that we don't forget. Okay, and now the class are separated into about 3 parts as well. This is the global one. Okay, and this, I don't know, I call it like a internal kind of class. This is actually run once, or you can call it setup as well of the class, and this will keep running. So I would call this part a special kind of a standalone function part, and I'll tell you why. Okay, now you see here, oh, oops oops, I screwed up. Okay, I'm gonna draw it again. Oh no, this is the main page. Wait. Okay, so 3 part. 1, 2, 3. Okay, function or standalone function. Setup and global. Okay, now here I want you to forget about global first, because basically it's just naming something. Float x is equal to 0, and then float y 0, float speed 2. Okay, all within the curly bracket here. Okay, inside the curly bracket. Now inside this class ball, you're gonna type ball. Okay, and then open bracket and then close it. First you type this. Okay, don't have to care about what's going on inside. You're gonna type this, and then you're gonna type open curly bracket and close it first. Okay, and leave it empty. Then you're gonna type what's going on inside. Now in this case, we want to tell the program where to start the ball. Okay, and this is actually where to start, and this is the size. So I'm not sure if we explained the ellipse function already, but let's click here, right click, find in reference. Okay, Now the ellipse function is embedded in processing. So we need A, B, C, and D. A is the x coordinate, B is the y coordinate, C and D is the size of the ellipse, okay, or the circle. Now, coming back here, okay, coming back here, I type down here float underscore x and then float underscore y, and if you see here there's some different here. X is equal to x underscore x and y is equals to underscore y. Why do we need this, right? So here's why. If this is a page of the global part, right, we write down here ball 200 200. Somehow we have to translate this 200 200 in order to reach in order to reach this ellipse here, because we will finally put the xy here, right, and the xy is here. So in terms of computer, we put down here 200 200, and this guy appears here as 200 and then 200, okay. Now 200 and 200, so it means that 200, the first one is underscore x and the second one is underscore y. Now this part, do you understand? Again, we put something down here, okay, as ball 200 200, and these numbers come to here, jump here, is equals to underscore x underscore y, because you see the same construction kind of grammar or syntax is happening here. Ball open parenthesis close, ball open parenthesis and close. So you see it's the same, right? Now how do we use this underscore x here, down here, right? So that's why in terms of global, if we write something global, float x is equal to 0. Now all this float x gonna act here, this float y gonna act here, right? This speed equals to 2 is gonna act here right away, okay. But we want the number from outside this page, this ball page or tab, to work. So that's why we have this part, and like I mentioned, it's set up, okay, it's run only once. Now actually it can run many times as well. If you put here, if you put this whole sentence in draw, so that means, and this number keep popping up, it keep drawing 200 200 200, okay, but later we will try that. Now from here we can write x is equals underscore x. So now the code will read from the top to the bottom. First it reads, okay, there's a class called ball, and then x is 0 and blah 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 blah. Now, oh, wait a minute, that's something called float x and a ball. Now x update equals to this float underscore x. So now it remember that x is 200 and then when the code going down, now x is 200. This x is 200. You know what I mean? So again, this guy bring 200 from this side down here, and then translate into x. And here we don't even have to write underscore x. We can write something else. For example, we can write this number will be x. Okay, but if we write something like this, we have to copy and use it here as well. My point is that the reason why we use underscore in front of the same name is that so it's easier to understand or easier to match. We know, oh, okay, the second value is gonna be y. So we look at here, right? And when we can type number here correctly, okay? But in theory, it can be any names. See? Still work. Okay? Now, this float things is a y value, and then it translates into this. And then now the y0 is equals to the global input here, y, right? Here, now. So in the function part, ta-da! I'm gonna sketch now. Sorry. This curly bracket is part of this curly bracket, okay? This one is part of this curly bracket. So this part of this curly bracket, this another function. So this void run, this void display, void move, and then void bounce. And in the bounce function, we said, okay, if it goes too far, then we bounce it back. Okay, and I'll explain to you later. Now, let's sketch on it. This doesn't count, it goes to the top for the class part. Now let's focus one by one. First, I want to skip run first and come to display. Again, it can be any names, but we have to write down void and then space bar, okay? Space bar and then display or any names, open bracket, close bracket, open curly bracket, and then close it here. Okay. Now I type ellipse and then x and then y, which is the value that comes from here, this x and y, okay, which again come from the other page. Now the size, I fix it into 20 and 20, right? So now that means, okay, I'm gonna copy this one here just to show you what's ellipse, just to make sure you get it. Now I will just draw it in the setup, okay? And I'm gonna say this one is 500 and this one is 500. Ooh, where's that? I know. Because when we draw this, we draw it and okay. Guess why? Takes 20 seconds to guess why it doesn't show up. Because later if we write down the code by ourselves, then we gonna have to find the bug or find your own mistakes. So now anybody knows or have any ideas why the circles here as 500 doesn't show up? Okay, I'll tell you why. Because we draw in setup, okay, and here the background updates. So if we wanted to show, we either have to comment out the background, you see it shows now, or we have to draw this under the background, okay, somewhere here. Yeah, so okay, now that's what ellipse is. 500, and then okay, I'll say make it bigger. The size is 60 and then 100. Okay, I'll change this into 250, and I'll explain to you the XYZ in processing. Okay, you see this is 100 width, height, okay, 100. And then the width is 60, right? Now 250 is the X. So if it's 2D, okay, I have to tell you if it's 2D, the XY start here, and it is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. This is 200. So this is 250. And then this is 500, somewhere here. Okay, so the center of this is at 250, and then the Y is 500. And this is the size of the ellipse. Okay, and this apply in 2D. In 3D, we're gonna have some different things going on. Okay, now let's go back to this display. So now this function you understand, okay, it's just an ellipse function, and then we cover it, or we make a shell, or we make a group, and we call it display. Now next function is move, and then another one is bounce, and then we put off these three. We put off these three functions as a package, and when we put it here, okay, and then display. So you see the way we put it is that we don't have to write down again void display blah blah blah. We just have to put display open parentheses and close, and then semicolon, right? And now once we activate the run or the class function, we don't have to write down display we just have to write run. You see, small ball dot run, open and close, and then semicolon. It's the same style that we write it here. See, this one and this one, but we have to activate it using dot. So the first object dot run function, is the same as you type this. Okay, middle ball. You see, something like this. It's like apostrophe s. Okay, get the run function and run it in draw. Right, so, and here you don't have to say run. You can say anything. You can name it any other function. So for example, here, I want the middle ball, okay, not to move, just display and not to bounce as well. Just display alone. So I don't have to write run. I can just use display function. Okay, see here is the same style of writing, right? Now here I will say display. Okay, and the big ball will display, and I think it's gonna be still, not moving. You see? It's here because it goes inside this big ball. Where's the big ball X and Y? Okay, don't move. Just do the display. Skip all this. So this is a group, a function within function. But we can just use each of the function as well. You get it? Okay. Now let me try this. I'm not sure if it's gonna work or not, but let's try having two commands. Okay, you see, it works. So we display first and we run. So instead of typing all this thing, big ball, display, move, and bounce, okay, this whole package, we group it into one and we said run. And this run, we run it. So it's like grouping the function. Okay, now in the move, okay, so far anybody have any question? Please don't hesitate to ask. Okay. Now, let's continue. So, in the move part, we said x, okay, plus equal speed. Okay, just the x value, okay. That means, wait, what's that? 不是我. Okay. Now, you see, I can read a bit of Chinese. Okay, now if this is the screen, right? And we said just the x part plus equal speed. That means the x keep adding itself, okay? And the speed, I remember the value is 2. So if we have the ball here, in every frame it plus 2. So if the x value that we put down here, the ball, and the x is 200 and the y is 200, that means in every frame the ball is gonna be 202. The next one is gonna be 204, 206, right? And keep moving to the right. This is adding the x value. Okay, that's what's happening here. Now the y value, there are two ways. Actually, there are so many ways of writing it, but this one is add itself. Okay, add itself. Keep adding. So the x now is 200 add, or you can write down like this: y plus 1 equals to y. So this is like adding itself as well. So in the next frame, y plus 1 now is 200. I'm gonna sketch here. This is y, and it goes down, down, down. So now, first frame, y is equals to 200 plus 1. So this update into 201, and then it goes up here again, and then now it's gonna be 202 because it's 201 plus 1, something like that. Okay, so this is the move function, and that's why the things move. Now if we change the speed into let's say 20, you're gonna see it moves faster. Okay, and y stay the same, so that's why it doesn't go down quite a lot. Now if you change the y from plus to minus, then it goes up the other direction, right? Okay, oh, and then when it goes up, it's gone. Okay, let's find out why later. So in terms of bounds, I want you to try to figure it out first. How come we can make it bounce in terms of logic? Okay, if we just draw it on paper, how should we make the ball bounce? Okay, let's try to draw it. And again, if you work with processing, I would strongly suggest you to draw or sketch on the paper as well if you want to create something that you want. For example, here I'm gonna draw circles, and I'm gonna say, okay, this is 0, 0, and this is 600, right? This is 600 x, and y is 0, and then this is 600, 600， 对吧？对不对？600， 600，然后这个是 whatever. Okay, now if our ball move here, boom, here, right? In terms of logic, once the ball reach this end, okay, once the x part reach 600, then we're gonna say it. Just write down in some simple sentence. If the x is 600, okay, then the speed from plus into minus turns into minus, right? Because we want it to go back. Now, if it reach another end, if it reach whatever from minus turns into plus, or minus turns into whatever that is not minus, right? Or something like that. 对不对? So this is the logic. Now, once we have this, then we apply the same thing to y. Okay, now this is another function. No, processing. Let's say function. Yeah, value. You can type width and height. Okay, and then it will tracks down whatever size that you put down. This is the width and this is the height. Okay. So in this case we don't have to write down here, okay, float width is equals to 600 and then we put down here width. No, we don't have to do that. In fact, in the whole processing you cannot write down the word width because it's gonna auto detect this one. Okay, you don't have to do this. No. Okay, now in the bounds, this is what I write down. Just focus on this part first. If x is equals to width, the speed is minus speed. Okay, so that means this 20 turns into minus 20. Again, coming back to this sketch, maybe it makes sense. So that means if this x is 600, the speed goes back. Now I add one more function for it, which is OR. Okay, from the last from the last class, or if the x is equals means checking, it has to be like that. Okay, it's not like this. This one equals, this two equals 2个. So if the x is 0, so either 这个还是这个, one of them activates or one of them is true, the speed is gonna turns into minus speed. Now if once it goes back, the speed is minus 20, right? Once it reach here, then minus 20 equals minus 20. You see this? Here, minus 20 is equals to minus 20. So it becomes 20. Does it make sense for you guys? I hope so. So now again, I write here, you see the reason why the things, once it goes up sort of forever, is because we write down here if the y is at height here or the y is at 0, then the y is 0. So once it goes up, it stays 0 and it goes up. Because at first I was trying to make it like this. Once it goes down, right, then the y turns into 0. So that's why once it goes up, it pew, going up, something like that. Okay. Now you can do this. You can do this. Well, I made it in for the sake of variation. But if you really want a perfect kind of bouncing, then probably you can do this. Okay, or maybe you can plus or minus 10 here. I'm not sure. Ooh, I don't know. Okay, anyways, try that. But this is the logic of the bouncing within the frame. Okay. one moment. Okay, now what else? I will try to add another value into it. Okay, for example, this small ball. Okay, I will not. Okay, I will add values into it, and I will create another class to show you that there can be more than one class in one simulation, but I will not rewrite the whole thing. Okay, and then I will save it and send it to you guys after the class. So here's how. If we add something more, for example, int underscore, give me one name. I will find one name from the class. My video just stopped. Oh my god, really? Does it work? Is the video okay? I just saw it. Okay, everybody's okay, right? No, not okay. Do you want me to try again? Wait, let me check. Okay, so the video is okay or not coming? Maybe the internet problems? For me it's good. Okay, anyways, don't worry. You will the company will send you the link later for the whole videos, and you will have to review it anyways. So okay ma, how I continue la. Okay, now so I add here int, and I'm gonna choose. Okay, yeah, sure. So maybe internet problem. So I will write down Dota 2. Yay. Okay, this is the name of the game. So Dota 2, I write it down here, and I'm gonna say, just for the sake of variation and making it a little bit more confused, okay, I'm gonna write down here int I play game equals to 0. Okay, so here I'm gonna write it. Okay, I'm gonna click run first. When I click run, you see it shows the warning. It says the contractor blah 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 is not defined. Why? Because there are two inputs, and actually this constructor, this family need 3 inputs. Okay, okay, so maybe my internet, I'm not sure. So here so I will write it down here. I play game equals Dota 2. Okay, I have to use underscore Dota 2. Again, just for the sake of getting it more confused, I will use weird name. Okay, so now here, even though I write it, even though all these numbers are connects, and when I click here, okay, it doesn't work. So why? Because we still haven't put down the value that it needs. and here I'm gonna write down 0. No, I don't like 0. Maybe 100, and then 150, and then 200. Okay, so all these small, middle, and big balls have the 3 value input, and I'm gonna click run. Then it works, right? However, you see all this value, we don't have to use it. The computer just needs to know that there are 3 inputs and needs to know that it works. Okay? Now, then what are some other functions that I want to put in? Let's say, for example, here, I don't want to write down another void and then another curly bracket. So I'm gonna put this in run. Okay, let's say stroke is 25500. I want the red outline, and then I'm gonna write down fill. So this fill is gonna equals I play game. So that means the fill color is the color that I put it from the global parameter, a global page, the main sketch page. Okay, actually it's true. It's the internet. Oh, okay. Now, if I click run, what we're gonna expect here is that there are 3 balls with some different colors, and all of them have the same red line or red stroke. Okay, you see? Okay, too fast. I'm gonna slow down the speed. See here, well, the color is different shade, but it differentiates the big and small ball. Now, in terms of later or future use, how you can apply this, okay, is that okay, for example, you can say this types of agent is type 1, and this is type 2, and this is type 3, and then it can give different color or different kind of curve or different behavior, different values, right? So this is the way to differentiate the same class but different DNA or different values. Okay, ma? Okay. Now, I hope that gets you more excited, and now you start to have an idea of what's going on here about coding. So let's continue something else. What we're gonna do is write down the new kind of class. Okay, so okay, what's the name of the class? I'm running out of vocab. Flower. I'm gonna say flower. Actually, I don't think right here. First is the global one. And then the constructor, I'm just gonna copy this one. flower, and this is the function. Okay, now void, and then bloom. The flower has to bloom. See, I normally write it and then just leave it blank, but don't forget to open and close this curly bracket. Okay, so how many value we want and what kind of thing do we want to do with this flower? Any idea? Okay, I'm gonna do this. I want some simple circle here and a smaller circle here. Oh no, I'm making it more challenging, and you're gonna think about the logic of how to make this. Okay, this X and Y in the center. Okay, and then there's some smaller circle here, 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 and here, and there's a line here to connect this thing. This is my flower. Think about it, how to make it, sketch on the paper, and then think about how to write it in the class, in this class function. Okay, think about it. Two minutes and I will start writing. By the way, just to advertise about some other class, if you want to learn Revit, okay, and I mean Revit, how to really use it, you can ask the company to arrange some Revit workshop with me. I will try to summarize it in a way that is so easy to understand, and actually you're gonna be learning from the actual projects how to really run it. You're gonna understand it in a short time. So yep, FYI. Ask the company, HYGGE. Okay, now I will continue about this flower thing. Actually, I have to tell you, I don't know how to make it, but I'll just gonna sketch it anyways. So first, what I need is probably a float. Okay, float X and float Y. Okay, that's for sure. That's the size of the, the location of the, and then the size. Flower size is equals to 30. All right. No. 50. No. 0 baht. Let's make it as part of the input. So now this is what I have. Okay. This flower, I will make it underscore X underscore Y. And this has to be float as well. Okay. Yeah. And Okay, now if you write down something and it starts to be a little bit messy, you can do Control T. Okay, and the thing's gonna arrange itself. So I will write down here Control plus T to arrange. I will save this and send to you guys later. So layout. Now this is XY and the size of the flower. So when it blooms, I'm gonna write down the ellipse. Okay, and at the X and Y location and the flower size for the X size, and it's gonna be the same size for the Y size, right? Now let me see the sketch. This one, right, we can have this as X and then Y minus something, let's say minus 20 for this guy, and then this X and then Y plus 20. Remember this 0 0 to be 2A, and this 600 600. Okay, so I will write down another ellipse, and I will write here first one is gonna be flower size divided by 2. Okay, and the X and the Y is I don't know, 50 minus 50 吧. Okay, and the opposite one, which is the second one, is plus 50. Now don't just write down whatever and then finish it. I'm gonna go back to the main page and try to run this flower thing. Okay, come to this first global part and then tell the code, oh okay, this name is wrong, it's tutor, but it doesn't really matter. For the sake of making it more confusing, I'm just gonna leave it there. Okay, flower. Name of the first flower, please. Okay, I'm gonna name it Stella. So this is the first flower. It's called Stella, and then Stella is new flower, and the X and the Y. X is the width divided by 2. Y is the width divided by 2. No, the height. Actually, you can write down width as well. Okay, but in this case, okay, let's make it like at the center of, okay, just to make X and Y different. This is the center for sure of the canvas, and the size is 100. Okay, so now in the setup we have this, and if you run it, it will not show because it's not in the draw yet, and I'm gonna show you why. You see, this means that the computer sent down this information to this part, but it doesn't say, okay, draw an ellipse, because this void function of bloom doesn't get activated anywhere here, and even if it's activated here, it will not show because it's in setup. So I'm gonna let Stella function bloom. Okay, so bloom. Okay, let's see if it works. You see this? Aha, our flower is here, right? Now the reason why this little guy here is in front of this big guy is because we write it and the bottom part, and the code read it from the top to the bottom. If we want it looks more like a flower, so we put it here, right? Something like that. I'll make it 100. And this okay, I think so. Yeah, now we have something like this, right? So again, we can have flower size and divided by 2. So this one value we can scale it here as well. Let's say this one is 5, this one divided by 3. So this input, right, we can use it, manipulate it, and then I don't know, it depends on your design. Let's say fill flower size. Wait, what's the flower size that I put? 100, right? I'm gonna make it 20, and the reason why I'm making it 20 is that then we can use it in some other, well, in this case it's a little bit labor intensive. Why? Because we have to do every fill function before each part of the leaf or the flower, right? And then so we manipulate this flower size for the color, but we can also add another value here for the color, right? And then we add another here for the color as well in the main page, add another one here, and then add another one here in the color in flower class, and then fill here, or maybe here use fill and color, and then this part we just have to write down the ellipse. Okay, so what else? Let's try. You see different size, it's a bit too small, different size and different color. Okay, or now we can forget about this. I'm just gonna comment, so it's still there. I change this into 50, 80. Let's try to put some color in it in a different way. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, there's a function called color. You see, function called color, which is a value as well. You can go here, tools and color selector. And then you can choose any color. In this case, I want green. You can copy this, highlight it, copy it, or remember the RGB. Okay, and then this color, I'm gonna say Huawei. Okay. So color is Huawei. Okay. By the way, sometimes you don't need equals 0 here because you just gonna initiate it or tell the program what it is, and then you can write down here Huawei is underscore Huawei. Okay, this, check. Okay, good. Now, when we click run, of course, there's an error because we didn't fill the thing through. So, comma, paste this weird number that we just copied from tools and color selector. Okay, I paste it here. Now I'm gonna click run and it's gonna be okay. But there's no color. Why? Think. Do. Because I haven't really put it in fill here. Oh no, Huawei. Of course we can put down the color value just now, but yeah, so here's Huawei. Now all this ellipse gonna be the same color, so in that case, if we, well, in terms of coding it makes sense. You put down one thing here and it's the same. So there's no other way around it. We have to make each one of them different, okay, by using Huawei. So multiply it, divide it, or whatever, okay. So because we really draw different circles. So now I want you to try to modify your code and ask me questions. Just click add here and new tab and try to write down your own thing. Okay, do it now. Be right back. Okay, let's try something fun. I'm not sure if it will work, but let's try this. So what if, okay, what if the location that we give out here, right? What if this thing is float x was y? What if we skip this and then we said this mouse x and y? Okay, interesting. Let's try it. I'm gonna do this. Comments out this thing, and I'm gonna say it. Well, it shouldn't work because mouse X and mouse Y is actually the location of the XY of the mouse. Okay, it doesn't track my mouse. That means it doesn't work and it stays at 0, 0. Because again, this setup, it runs only once. Now let's try to find a way to make it track my mouse. Pom pom pom, pom 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 pom. Mouse X, mouse Y. Okay. What if I put it here in blue? And that it's it runs every frame. So in every frame, right, it runs the bloom, the flowers bloom. It keep running. So this thing makes an ellipse at mouse X and mouse Y. It makes together 5 ellipses. So you see here, when I move my mouse, things move. Okay, let's try to unhighlight or comment this background. Yay. Okay, it works. One of the guy name is Deadline. Kind of cool. Okay, so what else should we do? Okay, because we have time, I'm gonna show you the next class lesson and what it's about. Okay, so you can understand a bit first. Again, this is the next class, just some sneak peek. This is the class ball. But here we're gonna import some library and we're gonna introduce you to the loop. Okay, it's called loop. And here we're gonna make 1,000 ball with some few lines. You see? So here instead of, okay, now I'm back in a class 2 page. Instead of saying many circles here, or instead of saying, okay, that's 1 ball, 2 balls, 3 balls, and 1 flower, I don't have to copy and paste here 1,000 times. And I don't have to name it here 1,000 times. So that's it. Q&A time. Come on, come on, come on. Internet. Sir, could you please copy the code for? Oh yeah, save as. Of course. Okay. One more thing. I'm not sir, okay? I'm your tutor, I'm your friend, and you can call me ET. Okay? My name is ET. As you see from the promotion brochure and poster, and somehow foreigners have a hard time speaking ET, so it sounds like ET. And yep, you can ask me Q&A and all that. I will send this to my company for the code, the after class code for the class 2 and the code for the class 3 as well. So again, I encourage you guys to review it from the first class, okay, class 1, class 2, and to have a look at the class 3 materials if you have time, of course, if you're not busy with some other things, because in later part I think it's gonna be more intense. And yep, I hope all of you enjoys today's class, and I don't know where you are, but good night. I know for sure one of you guys in RMIT. I know for sure. Okay. One limb. Yo. You're welcome. Jayo. What else way to learn this software, ET? You can learn in YouTube. But it's not as clear as I explained, and yeah. Or if you entered AA or AADRL, Bartlett, ETH, or RMIT. I think RMIT has some class. I don't know what's his name. Lawrence Snook or something. Yeah, Roland Snook. But I don't think. Yeah. Well, this guy used to be in AADRL or Bartlett or something. So you can try to find out about this guy, or if they have some online class, or I don't know, some free YouTube stuff. But it's quite limited resources out there. Oh, this is quite nice. And again, all this image, okay, it takes 6 months or 1 year to make it. So if you want some kind of cool effects like this, you have to spend your own time to try to manipulate the outcome. You know what I mean? Like, for example, in the code, I told you you can put many numbers, and then you manipulate those numbers so that sometimes you divide it, sometimes you multiply it, sometimes you make flowers. It depends on you how you want to design it. And sometimes you put type, right? So here you can make int type, int type equals to 0, and now you add one more value, which is the type and all that. Okay, so it's hard to say. And here you can set void grow, okay, and then you can set if type is 1, then do something, right? But the initial setup or default setup type is 0, so some of the flowers gonna have type 1, type 2, something like that. So we will try to do that later. GSAPP skill tree, I don't know what's that. Oh yeah, of course, 1 year. 1 year, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the Bartlett or even AADIL, they, sometimes when the project start and then they change it in the middle of the year. So after 6 months, the teacher thinks that the project doesn't go anywhere or is not innovative enough or blah blah blah. They're gonna have you rewrite the whole thing. What kind of effects? For sure, the effects that you can do is the one that you see in the video, because that one I made it specifically for this class. So the code, I write it down and then I record the videos for this class. Now the question is, what if you want to manipulate it? So you can look at all this picture and then think about the way of making it, or you can ask me later, like, okay, what if I want to make something like this, right? Then this one probably, I'm just gonna say it, okay, I don't really know how they make this. Probably they make it in Maya or something, but you can think about the logic of how to make this from processing. Do you know what I mean? Like this loft something, or let the agents run on the surface. I would suggest you to look at this kind of website or this kind of simulation classes, so you will have more ideas of what it is. For example, if just going around looking through, okay, this one is a kind of agents that runs and it later wrap using wrap kind of function, or just how to say, make an RGB and apply it on the surface. Sometimes it doesn't mean that you have to make this the whole thing our processing, and the professor or the people who look at the portfolio will understand, because even in the AADIL, you see they do it 2D and then they apply it on the surface. So you can say it's cheating a bit, but the idea is to get the design intention you know what I mean. We said what if, something like that. Okay, yeah, the for application, I don't know, it's up to you. It's the tools. Later, after few classes, you will understand. For sure, when you go through this processing class, you will look at this picture in a different way. You have a rough idea how they do it, blah blah blah, but application is up to you. Yeah. Anyways, I'm still sick, as you can hear it. So I think that's it for today, and see you next time. Thank you and jayo. Okay. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Thank you. I close lah. Bye bye.